I'm at the entrance to Gokoku Shrine in Niigata City. Before visiting the shrine, let's have a look at a sign here just by the sidewalk. It tells us that on November 15th, 1977, Yokota Megumi, who at the time was a junior high school student, and on her way home from badminton practice after school, was abducted by North Korean agents. Their submarine was in the waters of the Sea of Japan, just offshore there. She was one of dozens of Japanese to have been kidnapped by North Korean spies in the 1970s and 80s and taken to that country to teach its spies Japanese language, history, and culture. About 20 years ago, the then leaders of the two countries held an historic summit to discuss the abductions. North Korea admitted to them, and those who were alive and whose whereabouts were known were allowed to return to Japan. Maybe half a dozen or 8 Japanese. Megumi was not among them. North Korea explained that to the best of its knowledge, she had died of an illness sometime in the 90s, and that in a subsequent flood her remains had been washed away. She did, however, marry while in the country, and she had a daughter whom her parents were later able to meet. The sign requests that anyone with any information whatsoever contact the city or prefectural police department. So I'm now walking up the path towards the main shrine complex. This shrine is affiliated with a controversial shrine in Tokyo, Yasukuni, where the souls of Japan's war dead are honored. From time to time, government ministers pay their respects at Yasukuni, thereby angering certain of Japan's neighbors, well, particularly the Chinese and Koreans. The shrine is especially controversial because it enshrines 14 Class A war criminals from the Second World War. I was here earlier today, and there was a ceremony for families who had lost ancestors in Japan's wars, no doubt primarily in World War II. There were coaches filling the parking lot here from all over the prefecture. Here, in fact, is a propeller blade. This monument, no doubt, honoring those who served in World War II. in the Pacific Theater, kamikaze pilots, and so on. In the last video, I discussed the Shimenawa and Shide, which you can see there above the ceremonial basin. Today, I'm going to talk about a couple of additional distinguishing features that differentiate shrines from temples. The shrine was rebuilt entirely just a few years ago. You can still smell the natural aroma or odor of the wood. Shimenawa and Shide encircling a couple of sacred rocks just the other side of that lantern, and those paper slips tied to ropes on that frame are called omikuji. They are fortune papers. Shrines sell these papers for about 100 yen. This is something you don't find at temples. Here's the interior of the sanctuary. How to bow, clap your hands, pay your respects. You'll be able to hear some traditional Japanese instruments like a flute being played somewhere. I don't think it's a recording. I think this is a shrine, an exhibit honoring students who, during the war years, attended Meiji University. Students who fought and died in the war. Some more of the fortune papers and Emma votive tablets. Visitors write their wishes for the coming year on New Year's or in early January when they visit, or really any time. These are specifically for good results in academic work, particularly the high school and university entrance exams. Other common prayers are for happiness, for peace, for health. Here's someone who's going to have a surgical operation and hopes to come through that. So, Gokoku Shrine, omikuji, fortune papers, and ema, votive plaques. Two more things that you will encounter at shrines, but not at temples. A visit to Gokoku is well worth it. It's a little bit off the beaten track, but there is a bus, the loop bus, with a stop just outside one of the entrances. Well, that's about it for this installment of Shrines and Things. There are additional differences between Otera and Jinja, and I'll discuss a couple of those in the next edition.